Welcome, welcome, welcome to Rapid Reviews Radio episode 25.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's quite surprising, pleasantly.
Oh, yeah. Never thought we'd get this far.
No, I didn't at all. I am your co-host, Kiley Wild, and I'm joined by Pete Beckett.
Hello.
And we are in our isolation phase.
Again and still for the next months.
Yes. So how have you been? How's this been for you?
I want to rip my hair out. Let's just say that. I'm so bored.
Oh gosh, that's seems to be what I hear from a lot of people.
Yeah, I've kind of had enough of seeing the inside of my house, to be honest. But,
right.
I'm quite thankful for the fact that Square Enix decided to allow retailers to actually sell Final Fantasy VII Remake early. So
yeah,
I got my copy a couple of days ago.
So lucky, so
I know,
lucky.
and I have to apologise. I wanted to stream it.
Yeah.
I put a post out, and the same thing that happened with you with Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't allow it through the PS4's in onboard software. So I would imagine that will probably unlock on Friday.
Yeah, I bet you it will. Which I'm looking forward to because oh my gosh, that game. Ugh.
Yeah, I sent you a screenshot the other day of an area that I was in Sector 7, and it looks
beautiful.
Outstanding.
Absolutely
It's crazy.
Beautiful. And that was a low quality JPEG, sent through.
Taken off my phone.
Exactly, and it was still stunning. So,
yeah.
I can't wait.
It's crazy though. Like, so what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to be playing it for the next week, and I might, if your viewers are lucky, I might start it on Friday because it is actually Good Friday.
Oh right.
So I haven't got to work. I may just play it all day and stream it.
That sounds good to me. So
we'll see if I can get on. If I can obviously get on to do that.
Yeah.
So long as the PS4 allows me to do so, then I will. But if not, then you'll know about it because there won't be a show.
This is very true.
Anyway, I've rambled. How are you?
I'm great after knocking the power off at my house. So.
Oh my god, how did you do that?
I am an idiot, folks at home.
You didn't have to tell. We all knew that, but go on.
I was power washing my garage door, or how do you guys say it? Y'all say garage, I think.
A garage.
Oh,
look, you're an American. You're a filthy casual. You don't know the English language, so you can stick with garage if you want.
Apparently, that's the French way to say it, which is funny. But I was power washing my garage, but it hadn't shut all the way. But I got it as shut as most as I could. And I'm sitting there power washing. Oh, it's so amazing. It's just you can see just the clean surface coming through, and I'm just like in la la land, enjoying myself. And then all of a sudden, the people I have staying at my house come flooding out, running out to me, going, "What have you done? What have you done?" I was like, what?
Well, you got to wonder when they start saying, "What have you done?"
Yeah, exactly.
That could be literally anything with you.
Exactly. I was like, I'm having fun. What? So I pull up the garage door, and I had completely water blasted the outlet, the electrical outlet that's on the garage wall, which then shorted out my entire home electricity.
I don't know if you can hear this properly, but... Okay, so you can then.
A round of applause, yes. Shutting down all computers and everything, just poop, like I just pulled the plug. And it took another 10 or 15 minutes for it to dry out before I could get it all up and running again. So that was quite the adventure.
You are actually very, very lucky you didn't kill everyone in your house.
I know, that's what everyone was telling me. So.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you're usually used to isolation periods. I just think it's the people in your house that's thrown you off.
To be fair, yes, I am so thrown off. Everything, routine, personal bubble space, all of it. So many people are out there, and I know because I get the messages, and I do try my best to empathize. So many people out there are, they're lonely, they're actually isolated, they're tired of seeing the inside of their house, as you say.
Yeah.
And they just want to socialize and be around other people, and I'm just like, I want the people in my house out and I want to be alone again.
Yeah, because then it means you can kill yourself with no issues, really, without someone running out of the house saying, "You're going to kill us too."
I do wonder what would have happened, like if I finished doing that and put the power washer away with no one, if no one was in my house, and I walked in and the lights were all off. I wonder if I'd have ever dawned on, like, you sprayed the outlet.
I think you would have picked up on it eventually. When you tried to unplug the power washer and it just started sparking like anything.
And pouring water out of the whole, like, everything.
Oh yeah, of course. And then when you come to realise that on Sunday the podcast is cancelled because you got literally no working equipment at all.
Apocalyptic adventures with Kylie.
This is what happens when you build your own bomb shelter. You've got to put up with the apocalyptic nature of things.
That's true. It's apocalypse 24/7 with me.
In fact, your life should be renamed to Apocalyptica.
I could do that. I could live with that. But
okay.
Yeah.
Shall we get on to the news?
We will go on to the news. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start with this one because this is the first couple are probably shorter ones.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the unfortunate news that The Last of Us Part 2 is been delayed due to the coronavirus.
Yes.
The game, according to Jason Schreier of Kotaku, so press X to Jason, the game is apparently done, but will struggle to meet its release date due to logistics and shipping.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
It does make sense. And I kind of wonder, it's the indefinitely that...
I had left that out intentionally because I wanted to sort of discuss that of really with you. So the indefinitely is definitely intriguing to me as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What's your first thoughts?
I wonder how much of this... Okay, we definitely know that a lot of the components are made and put together in China. So that's probably a big part of it. And then, yes, there is the whole idea that most of the globe is on lockdown. So
yeah,
shipping is not great. I've had to stop my own buying of things online because the shipping is just, people are closed down. But my other thought is, and maybe it's a silly thought, but I mean, Last of Us is about a post-apocalyptic virus. So I do wonder how much of this will be, I think the indefinitely could be tied to, let's do some market research and see when the best time to release this is, so that more people buy it instead of going, ooh, I'm a little bit scared of that, I don't want to relive that, or something, something to that effect.
Yeah, could be the whole PTSD of the whole situation.
Exactly.
Could get to someone later on in the year and go,
yeah.
Oh, I remember when I was stuck in my house for like 3-4 months, at the beginning of this year. So I don't know, it's just a bit of an interesting one to me, really, that it's indefinitely delayed. Yeah. Does that then mean that this is indefinitely delayed because of PS5 launch as well?
Right. I would think that's probably related as well.
So are we getting this cross-generational? Is this just going to be a PS4 game regardless? Or are they just going to take the extra time and go, you know what, this is a PS5 game. This is not a PS4 game anymore.
I wonder... My thoughts are, if Sony delays the PS5, then I would think that The Last of Us will be released as a PS4 game with the possibility to upgrade, afterwards. If
kind of like the smart delivery system for Xbox.
Exactly. If Sony doesn't delay the PS5, I think The Last of Us Part 2 will release solely as a PS5 game. That's my thoughts.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty reasonable thought. I did want to ask you one thing as well, because there is another game in the pipeline that's coming this summer for Sony, and specifically Sony Santa Monica.
Uh-huh.
Or was it? No, Sucker Punch, sorry. Is Ghost of Tsushima.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Does this mean that Ghost of Tsushima is also going to get delayed?
I think, oh yeah. hands down. It's already been delayed, which was surprising to me because that's been anticipated for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it since I saw the 2018
Yes.
E3 trailer. That looked insanely good.
Yeah, that got all of us like totally hyped and ready.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. I love stuff to do with
Oh,
samurais and
yes.
the shogun, and that specific time period of Japan is like one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
So having to go back and play through that, it was something that I was like, I really want this because,
Yeah.
you know, it gave off some very strong, Way of the Samurai vibes to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that game is superb.
It is. It is.
Well, that series anyway, because there's 4 of them, which you don't actually know there's 4 of
I
them.
was gonna say, there's 4.
Yeah, so the first 2 were PS2.
Right.
The
Yes.
third one was PS3, and I believe the 4th one was PS3 as well. But I think there's a PS4 one, so it might even be 5.
Wow. I have not kept up with that series.
No, they're quite niche now,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird, really weird to say.
It is really weird. Goes. I'm not gonna remember, but yeah, I do think that it will be delayed. I have a feeling that, kind of just following my same exact logic, that if Sony doesn't delay the release of the PS5, they will probably also release as solely PS5.
Yeah. I think they're going to delay it. I think it's March, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing about that is if Microsoft are still on course to come out at the end of this year, the last time that they did this, they basically gave Microsoft a free lead.
Yes, that's right.
With the 360 after they delayed the PS3's launch for a long time.
That's why I switched over to Xbox. That's the exact time I did. Mm-hmm.
It was with me. I never owned an original Xbox. I owned a 360.
Yeah.
Because the wait for the PS3 was going to be too much, and then the price point was too much for me as well.
That's exactly why I went for 360. Well, that and Halo 3, but it was mostly because it came out first, and and I could afford it at the time.
Me too. Yeah, I decided to wait a few months so I could actually get the proper 20 gig one without having to go to the arcade version and get that terrible little memory unit.
Yeah, I think my first one was the arcade version, and then it got stolen. My house got robbed. That's a whole nother story. Yeah, my house got robbed. They stole my SpongeBob TV, which was sad. I loved that TV. Yeah, SpongeBob themed TV. My Xbox arcade at the time, and one of my tubs of comic books.
How dare they?
Were some of my oldest X-Men from, like, we're talking like the 70s and 80s. So
wow.
Yeah, we're talking like Silver Age and stuff.
Yeah.
A friend of mine felt terrible for me, and they reached out to a bunch of Marvel, mostly X-Men creators, former and present. And one of them replied back, and it was the most amazing thing. Warren Ellis.
That's amazing.
Warren Ellis emailed me a script for an X-Men comic that was due to come out that had his liner notes in it. And it was awesome. It was so awesome. And I got to know his thoughts on Scott Summers' Cyclops, which mirror my own.
Okay, so he hates them too.
Oh yeah, and very graphic language. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, which I can't say on our wonderful podcast. But
tell me after.
I was going to say, remind me. I will try to screenshot it and send it to you. Oh.
Sure.
But anyway, that was way off track. So I had to go out and buy another Xbox 360. But I did, and that one I bought the 20 gig one. And then 6 months after that, the police called me and said, "Oh, we found your Xbox."
I don't care. I don't want it back.
I know. I was like, dang it. So I had that one sitting around forever, which actually came in good because the 20 gig got the red ring of death. So I had to send that back and then could play the arcade one for a little bit.
Yeah, because it was an overheating issue. I'm sure it was something to do with that hard drive they had on it, wasn't it?
Oh, it had to be. Yeah.
Because if your arcade version didn't red ring, then that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I remember. Hard drive. Yeah, that's got to be what it was because I remember reading like quick fixes and stuff, and so I'd turn a fan on it.
Yep.
And that would help a little bit, but I mean, if you're gaming for 2 or 3 hours, a regular house fan is not gonna.
It's not really going to do anything at all.
So, but they did. I will say, Microsoft fixed it for free. They picked it up and sent it back, no charge on my part.
Yep. I used it a couple of times. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yep. And so I have a respect for that, which brings me to my thoughts about this.
Yeah.
I do wonder, as we're going into, what are we? We're in Q2 now, aren't we? Of the
technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're technically in Q1 of the financial year.
Right. Well, and then they're set to release in Q4 or Q3. I don't remember. Towards the end.
I don't.
Yeah, they're set to. It's rumored that they'll be between August and November. Let's just say that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and so people, let's be honest, aren't going to have money this year. They're just not.
No.
Unless. No, we won't get into that. That's economics and that's boring.
Oh,
But
yeah. Let's not, because that's a hotbed of an issue waiting to happen.
Yeah, and I'm about to go full nerd, and it would just be boring to our wonderful, wonderful, lovely listeners. It
would be boring to me too, but
it would be very boring too. But you at least have the kindness to go, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of true. And if I'm bored of it, I will go, shut up.
Yeah, he'll just send me a meme and throw me off track. It works every time. But yeah, so I do wonder what both Microsoft and Sony are going to do at the end of this year when, let's just say, people don't have money. They haven't been working.
Yeah.
We've all had to tighten our belts just to get through these next few months. And this is globally, not even locally. Yeah. This is pure globally. And their sales figures are going to be down. So that means, do they reduce the price of these machines, making them more accessible to more people so that more games can be sold? Or do they, delay the release so they can release it at full price? It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, after what I heard from Phil Spencer the other day on the IGN Unlocked podcast, I think it's like that anyway.
Yeah.
They are apparently on track to still come out this year, and I think they'd already sort of anticipated that something was going to happen with the distribution and the finding of parts, because obviously they've known about this in China a lot longer than we have over in the Western world.
Yeah, officially it was November of 2019. That's officially what they say.
Yeah, so now obviously those manufacturing plants are starting to come up again now that they're able to produce more materials. Mm-hmm. I think that Microsoft are on track. I think Sony are not.
Right.
It seems pretty prevalent, and I heard this the other day in another podcast I was listening to, that, to be honest, I agree with it as well, is that we haven't seen anything from the PlayStation at all, which worries me, but yet Microsoft have laid their entire hand out on the table for Sony to go, oh, look, you've got a flush.
Yeah. Which, if this was a normal year, I've said it before on this podcast that is Sony's, that's how they play. That's the game they play. They watch what Microsoft does. Microsoft does lay all their cards out every time.
Not always. Look at the Xbox One. They were very tight-lipped about certain aspects of it until the unit launched, and they had that horrendous presentation with Don Matrick.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They just messed up so bad. That whole we've said that many times, but that whole marketing thing for Xbox One was just
it was a nightmare. I mean, that was the thing. I think a lot of this is down to arrogance and cockiness. Yeah. Is that the company that has theoretically won the last generation will be too cocky going into the next one, and they will stuff up something proper. So look at the PS3. So the PS2 was a massive success.
You're right.
So Sony got arrogant.
They did.
put all this technology into it and expected people to still pay $600 for a console.
Holy crap.
Exactly. So then Microsoft, all they had to do was go 360.
Exactly.
£200 or $300.
It was $299.
That's it. That's all they had to do. It's like the famous 1995 E3 where Sony literally just dropped it and just went $199.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pretty much chucked two fingers up to Sega and went, "Ha, screw you."
See, that right there kind of confirms what I would do. I mean, my business obviously is different. So I'm still looking at this purely from a CEO point of view. Yeah. I would go ahead if I had the units to sell. Because if you didn't have the units to sell, that's a whole different ball game we're not even in. But let's say we have the units to sell. And this goes for both Xbox and Sony. Or Microsoft and Sony. I would drop that price, not a lot, but enough that it would appeal to a larger market. Get as many units sold as I could, because the real money makers is going to be for Microsoft, it will be Xbox Gold, Xbox Full Access, all of that, and the games. Yeah. And so it's like when you buy a printer, and the printer's cheap. You can get printers for nothing. But the ink is ridiculously expensive, and you have to keep buying it constantly. Yeah. Unless you're like me and you rig up a CISS thing that lets you refill it.
Oh, okay.
Refill it by hand. But anyway, my point is, taking that logic, if they sell the machines for lower, their long-term gains will be great. Yeah.
In software sales, it will be for sure.
Exactly. So my theory is, if they come out... Take the hit now? Yeah, and if they come out now, if they have enough units, they're going to drop the price.
I don't see you being too far wrong there, but I do wonder whether Sony are going to play ball with that at all. Apparently, according to a report that went out, it's cost them nearly $500 per unit to even put it together.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's bad business.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. But we'll move away from this topic, because I thought that was going to be a quick one. That is not a quick one because of us sidetracking, obviously. But it does have a massive impact on the next generation. It does. The last couple of games that are officially confirmed for the PS4, it has a huge impact on them too. Yeah. I mean, we're lucky really that one of them was Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that's obviously not being affected by it, luckily.
Yeah, that's very good. Oh,
yeah.
Again, you're so lucky.
I know, but you messaged me the other day and you said, "Shall I get this?" And I went, "Physical copy, you're not going to get any chance of that whatsoever."
See, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty crafty. I have connections. I can't get that.
No.
I can't. I tried. It's not happening.
Nah, there's no... I ordered this months ago, so that's probably why.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's exactly. You did perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I played it at EGX, that was it. I put my pre-order down, and I've definitely done it the right way. No, I knew what I was doing.
There you go. But yes, let's move on. Yes.
Okay, so we've had some unfortunate news about a publication shutting down, or due to shut down, and that is Official Xbox Magazine, which has been running since 2001.
Yeah.
Future Publishing has announced the magazine closure, as well as letting go some of their freelancers.
I'm going to be very honest, as a person who has worked in paper media their entire adult life, not a surprise.
No, I'm not surprised by this either. Print media has really gone down the...
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
The only actual print, like, in-hand media that I've picked up in the last few years is Edge magazine. And
Edge is still really good, though. That's why.
It's so beautiful. It's so it's a piece of art every month.
Yeah, those subscriber covers. I see one of our listeners, Thomas Llama Fluff 42, always posts them up, and they
They're
look stunning every
gorgeous.
time.
Yeah, and they're laid out so well inside, and just whoever their team of graphic designers are, they're just fabulous. They're top notch.
Yeah.
So they're the only paper media that I have bought at all. Yeah, at all in the last 5 years, I'd say.
I mean, I don't buy. In the last 5 years, I used to subscribe to Empire Film Magazine, but
Right? Oh yeah.
stopped that for
Yeah.
after most of that became basically an excuse for them to keep bashing President Trump,
Oh right.
which annoys the heck out of me. It's like, what does politics have to do with
Yeah.
movies? So
You want
stop that. And
film gossip.
exactly. And I also get my free subscriber copy for Starburst Film Magazine because I do some work with them, which is
Yes.
still quite cool.
Yes.
So I get a free copy every month, which is
awesome.
great.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that, like, I'm interested in going back to print media actually, because there's some really good magazines out there that I would be interested in picking up. The only issue I have with it is because of the
issue.
it's the the internet means that you can get the news so much quicker than a print publication. But
Exactly.
I mean, there are some out there that look really good. Edge Magazine's always got those beautiful subscriber covers. Switch Player Magazine looks really cool as well, because that's kind of like the only print publication that has anything to do with Nintendo now, after official Nintendo magazine shut down.
Right.
So I think they're kind of hitting a niche market there, which is good. And a couple of the people on our site actually do some stuff with them as well. So,
that's right. Yeah.
That's pretty cool actually, and they always put together some really good subscriber covers as well. So fair play to them. So I'd be interested in giving them a try, because I haven't actually got a copy yet, but I will plan on it at some point.
Yeah, no, it looks, every time someone posts up a copy of it, it looks so good. But you know what's weird? And I know we're getting off on a tangent. We need to wrap this up.
No, it's fine.
Speaking of just old magazines,
yeah.
Like, yes, the internet is completely at your fingertips, and so your current news and your current gaming news, all that stuff's right here. But I love getting. I am starting to collect old, like, National Geographics, and old interior design magazines from like the 50s and 60s. Yeah. Because the stuff. And old Time magazines. When you read stuff, that is amazing. Now, I will say that Time is really good, and they put their old stuff online. It used to be free. I haven't checked in the last few years or whatever. It is so amazing to read things that were happening in that time period that were so important, so massive, and you don't, like, nowadays, I don't know who these people are. I had to go, like, look up people in Wikipedia because there's just nothing about them nowadays, and yet they were these massive figures during this time. And then also I like to look at the ads, because it's just neat. It's kind of like a time machine. It just transports you back in time, and I love that. But
that is great, to be fair.
Yeah, so I've kind of picked up this affinity for just old print media, and it is a dying art, and I got my start in print media, and I hate to see it go, but at the same time, its time is past,
Yeah, of course.
It is an internet age.
It is indeed. Like I said, there are still some out there that are still doing some great work, but I think we are long past print media now as being a thing.
Yes, I do.
I think if you can do some stuff with print and online, then great, because Starburst do that very well. Empire do that very well. You do sort of feel like you're just reading the same stuff over and over again, because if you read it online and then you get the magazine later, you are just reading the same article.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I just think that most companies now, especially people like Future Publishing, are probably going to go down the route of, let's shut down the vast majority of our print magazines just for the online section. Because let's be honest, it's costing them a lot of money and a lot of resources just to keep doing this.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not only more cost effective, as they say in the newspaper business, but if we look at it from a global perspective, it is better for the environment. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
it's less paper waste, less ink waste. I mean, I'll be very honest. I know that my career, my business is in print, but I'm here to tell you that ink, it's not good for the environment. No. You can get some ink that is, but it's not freely available just yet. So
just look at the way it stains your fingers. If it stains your fingers, what the hell is it going to do to the earth?
Yeah, and where do they get it from? So yeah.
I just thought they milked, octopuses for that.
Oh, I just had this great image of these like octopus farms, like dairy farms.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
No, that's so cute.
Yeah, we'll move on then, shall we?
Yeah.
Or I get you more and more annoyed by that. Okay, I'm gonna have to get you to do me a favour on this one though.
Okay.
I can't read the story.
You need an objective point of view?
Yes, please take this story, and I will save reaction until the end.
Okay. Video Game Chronicles, VGC, reports that many Mario games are due to be remastered and released on the Switch for Mario's 35th anniversary. The news was due to be announced at E3 this year, but plans have changed due to pandemic. Games cited were Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2 in an All-Stars-like package, and Mario 3D World Deluxe. So good. Yep, I was expecting a squee, and I got it.
Yeah, that's why. I'm sorry, viewers. Usually, or listeners, I would take the lead on the news, but I couldn't do that without, going a bit crazy about it.
Yeah. This was made for you. It's like, here, Pete.
This came out on Monday. This is literally like a day after we recorded our last episode. This came out, doing the rounds, and I literally went, if this isn't on the news stories for the week, then so help me God.
As soon as I saw it, I think it was posted in Discord where I first saw it. I think. It might have been Twitter, but as soon as I saw the headline, I was like, yep, that's going to be on the news next week.
Am I that predictable?
When it comes to Mario, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll let you off with that one. That makes sense. I mean, what do I say about this? Please be real.
I know. I'm not. I hate to say that I'm not as a big fan as you are. I'm a huge fan of the Mario verse, but I definitely think that you take the cake in that respect. And I'm excited to see that happen. That will make me pick up my Switch. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, too right. I mean, I think I've made it very abundantly clear on podcast that I'm not the biggest fan of 64 or Sunshine.
Right.
I have my reasons behind them. 64's camera acted like
it's terrible.
A hideous anus at the best of times. And Sunshine took movement options away from Mario in replacement of FLUDD, which I didn't like. The whole point of it is that the camera got better in the 3D games, and his movement also got better.
Yeah.
But they took options away from him, so it's not. And let's be honest, I didn't want to play a game as a glorified janitor.
Yes.
So,
you'd rather be a glorified plumber.
he's not even a very good plumber.
No, he's not.
Look, he doesn't wear a tie, so therefore he's not a good plumber.
There you go.
That is literally the worst in joke I could ever make to anything. That was terrible. I'm so sorry. I'll give the context. There was once a game on the Sega CD, or the Mega CD over here, that was called Plumbers Don't Wear Ties.
Yep.
Yeah,
it is.
It was bad.
Little known, but it's hilarious if you can find a Let's Play of it.
AVGN done a video on it, and it's hilarious.
Yep. Gosh, yeah, I recognize. I recommend most of AVG stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Just fast through his skit parts.
Yeah, I mean, so man,
I know. I want this to be true.
I want this to be real. I want this to be actually a thing.
It makes sense, but it hasn't been official. It has not been officially confirmed.
Yep.
So we still have to take it with a grain of salt. But
Yeah, this is
holy
still
crap.
rumors. And this
Yeah.
annoys me. It annoys me that it's still just a rumor. But
Yeah.
I mean, apparently they were due to, or like you said in the news story, to give the information out at E3 this year in June. But they might
Yeah.
be bringing the plans up a little bit sooner just to announce this.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
could be in a future direct. Could be just a
Yeah.
standalone presentation. Who knows? I mean, look at the amount of stuff they've done for Mario's 35th anniversary already. The
Right.
partnership with Lego,
Yep.
Levi's. This sounds pretty believable. And look at
It
what they did
does,
for
yeah.
Mario's 25th, where they
Yeah.
released Mario All Stars. They
Yeah.
re-released
Yeah, I
Mario
was
All
gonna
Stars on the
say.
Wii.
Yes, they did. They did.
Yeah, so I think if they're going to do this, like how they did with the original All Stars on the SNES, I kind of hope they do up-res the Mario 64 and Sunshine a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to see that happen.
I don't want Mario 64 to look like an N64 game on that collection because
Yeah.
it's bad.
Yeah. It's very bad.
I mean, GameCube was able to put out HD graphics. I don't think you need to do much with Sunshine. Galaxy 1, 2 just need a bit of a HD and that's it.
Yeah.
And just the changing of the motion controls. That's it.
Good point. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But the one I'm most excited about, Mario 3D World. That game is superb.
It is.
And needs to be played by more people. So if they release this as a deluxe version like they did with New Super Mario Brothers Deluxe.
Yes.
Then we're going to be in for a real treat here.
Yeah. Yeah. I will finally get to join in on all the Switch discussions because I'll have actually played something that everybody's playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, without going into too many details, I've perpetually got one of the musics from Mario 3D World stuck in my head all the time. And it is a banging tune as well.
I get Jump Up Superstar stuck in my head all the time.
That annoys me sometimes. I love the song, but it annoys me. They played it too many times.
Exactly. Just over and over and over.
Yeah.
Okay, we should probably move on because we're short on time. Yeah, we
are indeed. Yeah, but I'll just finish this off. One last thing. Please be in one package and not be sold individually.
Yes. Okay, I have to second that. Yes, absolutely. Nintendo, you've been so good to us so far. Yeah. Keep going.
here's another idea as well.
Mm-hmm.
Literally re-release All Stars 1 on a Switch cartridge as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine if they did this, right? Release Super Mario All Stars plus World on the cartridge because that is the rarest version of them.
Yes.
Then they went, all right, so we're going to release this, and this is being shadow dropped, in a couple of weeks' time. And then boom, the news: Mario All Stars 2.
Oh, wow.
And it's got Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2 in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be so hyped.
That would be very cool. I would be on board with that. Absolutely.
So, okay, we will move on then.
Okay, we are going to do a super quick, you got this.
Yeah.
I say that all the time, but you got this is our 2-minute segment that is rarely 2 minutes. But we're in a difficult time for all of us. We're all out of our comfort zones, I'd say, in various ways and degrees. So there's been a lot of studies coming out that a majority of people, both in the UK and US, so I would say that probably reflects lots of people around the world.
Pretty much everyone.
Yeah. Their mental health is really taking a hit.
Yeah.
I will say for me personally, I have a team of therapists and I just have some really great people, and they're not taking appointments right now, obviously. They are doing phone consultations, so that's good, but that means they're still working. Yeah.
I've heard that a lot in my job because I have to call surgeries up for medical reports. Right,
of course. So, but that means that a lot of us are we're having to really, I don't even know the right word. I was going to say control, but that's not the right word. We're just having to kind of
go with the flow.
Go with the flow and just do what we can.
Roll with the punches.
Roll with the punches, yes. And something that helps with that is this kind of, it's become a buzzword, but it has an actual meaning, which is called mindfulness. Now, yeah, mindfulness can mean many different things to many different people. So basically, the NHS says that mindfulness means knowing directly what is going on inside and outside ourselves, moment by moment. I know that you and I both are very internal, self-reflective, self-aware people.
Yeah.
So in some ways, this is just how we live. But I know that there's a lot of people out there that they get distracted by the day-to-day. And they don't realize that something's going on inside until they stop and think about it. Yeah. So with mindfulness, it's very, very needed in these next few weeks of isolation for all of us. And the NHS has some tips on how to be more mindful. So again, you can find all this information at the nhs.uk under conditions, stress, anxiety, depression, and then mindfulness.
Good little resource, that one.
Yeah, because I'm getting a lot of things for myself off of this whole thing. And then, of course, last week's You Got This was also from this website. But they say how to be more mindful. You need to remind yourself to take notice of your thoughts, feeling, body sensations, and the world around you.
That sounds a bit weird.
It sounds a bit weird. It does. Yeah. But I also know that I'm the type of person, especially when I'm in my workaholic mode, which I can't be in right now.
Of course.
Send me into panic. But I can work about 12 hours straight, never realize I'm hungry, and never realize I'm tired or that I've cut myself on one of my machines. Until
I've done that 1,000 times as well.
Exactly. So being more mindful means you'd be more aware of those things. And it is a learned behavior. It's not a natural thing, I think.
Yeah.
But they say to notice the everyday. Just notice your sensations of things, the food we eat, the air moving past the bodies as we walk. All this may sound very small, but it has a huge power to interrupt the, quote, autopilot mode we often engage day to day and to give us new perspectives on life. I have to agree with that.
Autopilot's one of the worst things in the world.
Yeah, and I will flip that autopilot switch as soon, like I wake up in the morning. I have a routine, I follow it,
I think most people generally do, don't they?
I do as well, yeah.
I'm now pretty much in that situation with working from home that literally I'll get up, put the kettle on, I'll start setting my computer up in my workspace because I'm not lucky in the fact that I have to hardwire in for my phone at work, so I have to be near the router, so I'm down in my kitchen. Yeah. So I am literally just 7 a.m. just getting up, put the kettle on, start wiring up all the setup, and then boom, the computer's on at 7:10, and I'm logging on and all that sort of thing. I'm not starting until 8:30, but I'm getting it all set up, ready to a point, so I can literally go, all right, it's 8:30. I'm on. I'm done.
Exactly.
I'm good.
Exactly. And it's just so easy to kind of fall into that, which means you put all of your internal self-reflection on pause. So you could be starting to feel. Let's say that a person has clinical depression, and they keep pushing all that aside, so that they can go on autopilot and just get through the day. Well, all that's going to build up. And
of course it is.
Hit you out of the blue, which has happened to me as well. So they go on to say, try new things, which is kind of difficult now, but they mention like going on a different route on your your daily walks and stuff.
Yep.
Just make sure to keep those walks regular. To watch your thoughts. Some people find it very difficult to practice mindfulness. As soon as they stop what they're doing, lots of thoughts and worries crowd in.
Far too many.
That is me 110%.
Yep.
which is why I even started researching this. Because, I mean, honestly, a true workaholic, they do that because you can turn your brain off and just obsess on the thing that you're working on.
Yeah.
Which is the exact reason I do it. I'm very self-aware. Yeah.
It's so much of I'm focusing my energy on something positive rather than let the negativity get me down.
Exactly. The problem is my business is closed like much of the other universe.
You have literally got no choice at the moment.
I have no choice. So I have only got the choice to self-reflect like crazy.
That and play Doom.
And that and play Doom. And Fallout. I'm switching between both.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, it does come down to that. That's why I'm a workaholic, so that I don't have to have thoughts and worries come in. But I'm not working right now. So I like this next statement. It might be useful to remember that mindfulness isn't about making these thoughts go away, but rather about seeing them as mental events. That's actually what I'm doing in therapy now, is allowing thoughts and feelings to flow over me rather than deny them. So for anyone else out there, this might help you. Imagine standing at a bus station and seeing, quote, thought buses coming and going without having to get on them and be taken away. This can be very hard at first, but with gentle persistence, it is possible. Yes, it is absolutely 100% possible. Especially if you're a visual thinker. I know that some people aren't, which was a new, exciting lesson I learned on the internet.
Oh, you learned something on the internet?
I did. Yeah. Some people don't have inner monologues, and some people are not visual thinkers. But I am. So I do visualize stuff like that. I have to visualize it as waves because that's what I've worked with a therapist as. And it's okay to feel worry. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay to feel negative things, and they will pass.
Sure.
And then they go on to say, name thoughts and feelings. To develop an awareness of thoughts and feelings, some people find it helpful to silently name them. Here's the thought that I might fail the exam, or this is anxiety. That's another thing we're learning, is to label thoughts and feelings. I actually have a feelings chart, and when I am feeling things that I can't explain, because I'm very disconnected from things like emotions and stuff, I'm supposed to find it on a chart and name it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, for some reason that helps humans, because we like to label things. And then finally they say, free yourself from the past and future. Now this is very important in our current state of events. You can practice mindfulness anywhere, but it can be especially helpful to take a mindful approach if you realize that for several minutes you've been, quote, trapped in reliving past problems or pre-living future worries. I think that's what a lot of us are doing. I think it's human nature.
I think it is too.
Yeah. So when you're having your hour a day of exercise, or however much you choose to take, have some mindfulness moments. Just take a look within. Let yourself feel all the negative crap, because it's going to go away. It's your thought bus. It's going to drive away from the station. And but remember, as always, you got this. You really got this. And this time especially, we got this together. I'm glad you said that. It's not you've got this, we've got this. Yes. We're all in it together. Absolutely.
So those idiotic 3,000 people who decided to sit in Lambeth Park, in Brockwell Park in Lambeth yesterday and ruin it for everyone else, there's something wrong with you, honestly. Seriously. Be mindful of everyone, not just yourself at this moment, because it's only going to be everyone else that gets affected because of one or two complete asshats just, absolutely ruining it for all of us. We all want to go out in 3 months' time and actually go and enjoy our summer.
Yeah, I've got a convention I want to throw on, so...
I'm going to that convention. Exactly. I've got a non-refundable room.
Yeah.
For goodness sakes. I don't want to lose the money on that at all. So
exactly. Stay your butts home and take care of each other. And
There is no need to go and have a barbecue in a public park.
not right now.
No, if you've got a garden, do it there.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, stop being idiots.
Yes. Yeah, which has kind of been a theme the last few episodes. We're like, wash your hands and stay at home.
Yeah, that's been the theme of most of the podcasts I've listened to over the last few weeks. Is honestly. Most people just sitting there going, "Wash your damn hands, people."
Yep. All right.
So, yeah, just the last point on this one. Yes. Just a couple of little things just to remember. Wash your damn hands, people.
Yes. Sure.
Stay your 2 meters and just
take it as it goes.
Yeah, take it as it comes. If you need help because you're in a mentally unstable place or a place that you don't want to be, reach out. It could be anyone. It could be us. It could be a good friend. The Samaritans, the NHS.
Yes.
Yeah, it could be anybody. Anyone you feel that you could trust, or even if you don't feel like you can trust them, or you just want to talk to a complete stranger, that's absolutely fine too.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Just keep yourself well, because these are very hard times at the moment, obviously, with keeping yourself very, mentally unstable positions of having to be stuck in the house and not seeing your friends and family or your partners and all that sort of thing. It's difficult. It is very difficult. Yeah. And I can tell you from experience, I haven't seen my girlfriend in 3 weeks now because we can't see each other. We're not allowed to.
That would be so tough.
I know we're having to make do. Video calls and all that sort of thing. We'll do the trick for a while.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the best thing to do is just to stay safe.
Yeah, and we'll all come out through this much stronger. I promise you that.
We'll be a lot more connected.
Absolutely.
Once we're out of this, if we're all talking online and we're communicating, team members are all in WhatsApp groups together. This is only helping to build a strong bond. The strongest of bonds that humanity needs to actually stop war and poverty.
Well, I was going to say, bonds are created through adversity. We are now globally going through an adversity together. So
it's been a very long time since we've had to deal with a global adversity moment.
Absolutely. And there is a reason why. I'm just going to say it. There's a reason why the generation that fought in World War II are called the greatest generation.
They are.
They really are. And then previous to that, well, some of them also went through the Great Depression, and they are they're the ones that are surviving the coronavirus, by the way. Have you noticed that? It's all the 90 and 100-year-olds that are coming through it. So I know I have someone in my life that's 96. She might be 97 now.
Damn.
Woo, that woman is strong. She's strong-minded. She's strong physically. She's like, she will tell you how it is and tell you how to be. I love it. I admire that generation very much.
Yeah, fair play to her. She's had to live through probably
she had
a few of the worst situations that you've ever had to deal with in terms of human race. War, depression,
she had to hide in the caves.
Struggles. Yeah. Nuclear war.
Well, when Belfast actually had a blitz as well. I'm just learning this stuff, and I love history, guys. So I'll try to keep it short. But she actually had to hide in the caves up on Cave.
I'm not surprised.
And because of the bombs, and that's a strong generation, guys. That is let's look to them. They're the ones surviving this. They made it through. Look, we're sitting here with electricity and internet, and
they didn't even have that. They barely got any of that.
They had candles and books in a cave.
And they were lucky if they even had a house to come back to.
That, and also she told me about how they only had like 4 different things to eat. It was like chicken, eggs, potatoes, and rice. They didn't even have like corn and any broccoli.
Spam.
None of that. All that stuff was like luxury items. So it's like, guys, we're gonna make it through. We're gonna make it through just fine.
Exactly. We're doing pretty well as is already. We can definitely get through this. Don't let the crazy people on the internet fearmonger you.
And you can take a break from that as well.
Log off social media. Do all of that sort of thing. Protect your well-being, because that is what's most important.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we should probably move on.
Okay, so we're going to move on to our main topic now, which happens to be an interview with our guest, who goes by the name of James Fraser-Murison. And I've butchered that, I know.
Take it. I've been called worse.
But he is the Director of Creative Arts at the Queen's College in Basingstoke. So that's going to mean absolutely nothing to nobody. So do you want to just let us know what all of that means?
Sure. Thank you, everyone. So I teach at Queen Mary's College in Basingstoke.
Yep,
that's the one. And it's a 16 to 19-year-old college, 16 to 19-year-old students, traditional sixth form college. It's got about 2,000 students there, and I teach level 2 and level 3 media. Used to teach a combination of BTEC and A-levels, film and media and English as well. And I am currently helping to put together the first ever eSports vocational course that, fingers crossed, will be released this coming September.
That's excellent.
I was really interested to hear about that as well, because
I know you are.
I've been heavily involved in the esports side of things for quite a long period of time, and I think it's a great idea to start introducing the potential for teaching people the way of esports, kind of like how they teach that sort of thing to do with professional sports. So what is it that made you interested in esports?
Well, to be honest, I've been teaching for about 15, 16 years now, I believe. And normally, traditionally, when you get to a break between, say, period 1 or period 2 in the morning, or you've got a lesson and then suddenly everyone's got to leg it for lunch, I was finding that more and more often students were actually staying put in the classroom. And 5, 6, 7 years ago, they would be staying to watch the highlights of, I don't know, something like Match of the Day or some exciting, slightly illegal football stream. As the months went by, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I was noticing that actually what the students were doing, both male and female, they were staying put to watch streams that were either live or pre-recorded streams of people playing against each other in a variety of different computer games. So being someone who's interested in all things contemporary and exciting, and being a fan of games himself, I thought I would kind of spend a little bit more time trying to work out what the kids were interested in, what they were doing, and that's how I stumbled into understanding and hopefully putting together this exciting esports course.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think that's fabulous. That's a bit of ingenuity there.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I think we're hopefully going to be able to release the news soon, and as I say, be able to launch this for a September start. And it's a rare moment in education where there's something both contemporary, exciting, engaging, and fun. And you can have fun in education, but also educational as well, because we're looking at the esports franchise and business as being the thing that's currently ticking the entire country along. To be honest, it's making more revenue than the than the music and the film industry put together. But it's not actually well known really to anyone unless you are sort of already interested in these type of things. So what we're hoping is that the course that was put together will have a very strong educational feel to it, and it will involve an awful lot about what the industry is, how the industry works, how you can get into it from a sort of stage management perspective, branding, legal and ethical opportunities, all sorts of things like that. So I should probably put a disclaimer out now that if you're an e-sporter, then the course that we've helped put together, there's very little gaming on it. Realistically, if you're a gamer, you're going to be doing that anyway.
Oh yeah.
That's mostly going to be in your free time, isn't it?
Absolutely. So what we did is that when we spoke to the relevant powers that be who came into Queen Mary's College and spoke to our students, all of them, bar none, all of them said they want to get an understanding of the business because they already game. So the units that are out there, they will involve around, as I say, branding and sort of how to understand things from a mental and a physical perspective, but being able to look after your mental health and dealing with topics such as gambling addiction and all of these useful things that people need to understand and take seriously. But it's also how to build up your own business and avatar and personality online and the pitfalls that come with it. And it's like a really good contemporary qualification that's out there, or will be out there.
That's amazing to hear, really, because that's one side of the esports aspect that they don't actually take into account is the logistical side of things. You know, who has to set up the flights and the travel arrangements for these teams that are going out to different competitions. Actually signing players up is a huge logistical nightmare as well. And I think it will be really interesting to sort of get that side to people more so than just the playing side of things. Because like you said, if they want to play, they're going to play it regardless. But not many people are going to have the facilities that are available to them to actually get a BTEC or a degree or anything like that in team management and stuff like that.
But we've put together, as I say, units that also deal with things like the coaching side of it, nutrition and the psychological aspect to it, but also things like shoutcasting.
Amazing.
And you're not going to find that in any other qualification out there in the world, for obvious reasons. But some of this qualification will be a combination of media and business and sport, but then you've got the specific things of, as I say, shoutcasting and eSports law and legislation that you're not going to find elsewhere, which is why it's so contemporary and so sort of now that the kids are just going to love this course. They're going to absolutely eat it up, and we can't wait to be part of that, really.
That is exciting. That's absolutely. For me, like, I'll be very, very honest right here that I was not the world's best student. I was very...
Neither was I.
Yeah. Well,
Neither was I.
I was very disengaged. So when you say engaging, that caught me, because it's true. If you put it in a package, like a pretty package, like eSports, that would get people that are gamers already like, oh, interested. And then you can slip in the actual practical knowledge and stuff, and I find that's fascinating. That's absolutely creative. I think that's a wonderful thing, and I think that's. I wish you the greatest success with it, because I'm completely intrigued.
I do think it's going to be popular, and I do think that so, and the people who have really kind of pushed this together is a very nice newfound friend of mine called Tom Dorr from the British eSports Association, and people up at Barnsley College who are similar sort of approach to it that we have at Queen Mary's, which is we started off with just an enrichment of eSports, and we ran that September just gone. And normally the way that enrichment works at Queen Mary's College is that you can pick to a certain degree whichever one takes your fancy, but it always has to be whenever you've got a study period. You tend to find that there's only 15, maybe 20 if you're lucky in a course of enrichment, because you've got other studies going on. Right. Whereas we launched the eSports enrichment on a Wednesday and a Thursday afternoon outside of college hours, and we got 55. Oh, wow. And then we got a waiting list of 15, and we realised that that's not, we're onto something good here, but we've got to find ingenious ways of keeping them happy, keeping them going, and keeping them ticking along. So we started talking to the right people about how we can turn this into a qualification, and I was approached to kind of have some sway on a level 2 and a level 3 qualification for this coming September. And the enrichment club that we put together, we now signed up to start competitive games with the aforementioned British eSports Association, and they've been fantastic. And if you're listening and you're part of a school or a college, I can't recommend enough signing up to it, because we learned so much, and it was really good fun. And it's the only time really within education as well that I've seen both the first year students and the second year students all work together collaboratively and in a night, because there's always this I don't know, hierarchy, isn't there, of the second years are too cool for school, they're not going to hang out with the first years, and the first years are kind of new and shiny and trying to find their way around certain things and colleges and stuff. And even on your traditional sports that get played on a Wednesday afternoon, the football team, more often than not, has probably got the first years in it, because the second years have discovered driving or girls by then, so they're not that interested. And so with the rugby team, or both, well, maybe, who knows. If everyone's happy, I'm happy. it was a rare but a very nice thing to see sort of cultivate in this enrichment we had on a Wednesday afternoon, and and the students have also had a sway in it by saying, yeah, we don't want to do the gaming in this qualification. We want to know the aspects of business. We want the industry. We know that all these other things are happening, but we want to know the nitty gritty of it. And hopefully, if we're lucky, that in conjunction with the September release of this qualification, we're working with a local education provider of ours who's going to help us open a brand new floor just for esports at our college. Yeah, and if all goes to plan, we'll be able to saddle up with, hopefully, I can't promise yet, all these things have got to be worked out, but hopefully with Lenovo and the game owners, because they're two local Basingstoke companies, and possibly a certain arm of HP, if we can, on top of that, and also as a team, a C Learning team who work very closely with and for Google, who are also very interested in what we're doing. So I'm really hoping that this thing will take off, as I say, and we'll be able to launch with all of these people in September, and then we'll be having a waiting list, which, again, in education is almost unheard of these days.
Yeah, that's amazing. I will say that, let's say about 2 years ago, I think I caught my first Overwatch tournament, and obviously held in the US. I think it was held in New York, but the amount of money that Blizzard put into the sets, the lighting, the everything, all the background stuff, and then of course flying out the competitors, and then each of them having their own PC, I knew there was money. They were making a lot of money to be able to put that out. So I'm glad that there's like young people that are interested in the kind of economics in the business side of things. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I think I'm also quite lucky that my college has supported me with this, because we're not a college flush with money. There's no money in education. No one's got any. But we have been quite lucky with the principal. She gets it. She isn't an e-sporter. But she gets it. She's aware of the coverage in the last couple of years. There's more and more stories appearing on the BBC website or the Guardian or whatever, and that's helped the cause a little bit. But also you've got the students who are driving it, and if the students want to do something, then if we can, we should make it happen. And I don't know, the exact figures, but the esports industry is worth, I don't know, north of 120 billion easily.
It's a huge industry at the moment. I've only seen it grow within the last 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little bit behind on that, actually, but we are slowly getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the likes of Gareth Bale's now starting his own esports team. Drake's got involved with 100 Thieves or whatever.
Right.
All of this is kind of helping to push these things along, and it's the argument I will have with parents undoubtedly will be the same argument I've had with parents over 10-15 years of what's the point of media studies, what's the point of film studies, and now what's the point of esports. Well, it's driving the economy, and there's two universities that I hope to work with, both the University of Staffordshire, the Digital Institute campus, and also Chichester Uni, who are two of the first universities to do an esports degree. And if we can align ourselves working with them, then great.
Yeah, funny that I had a workmate who actually went down to Chichester for the uni and said who did say the same thing, that the digital culture side of things was growing hugely in their campus.
Yeah, we hope. There's a very talented sort of lecturer and FIFA commentator down there called Brandon Smith, who's brilliant, and he's a lecturer there. And when he's not, he was anyway, being flown around Europe, being able to commentate on FIFA games. And
amazing.
He's someone who got it. I know. I've tried really hard to see if there's any jobs going. But I haven't. I'd be rubbish. But it's knowing that these things exist, and therefore we have to understand them and embrace them, and we have to take these things a little bit more seriously, I think, than we will. And the conversation with the parents will be, look, have a look at these units, have a look at this specification for this esports subject. remove everything that says esports, replace it with the word business, and then tell me it's not worthwhile. And then I think by then we're on to a winner. Because
definitely.
It's all set up from a logistical business, health and sort of well-being perspective, how to create and set up your own events. Everything's incredibly well thought through, because we realised that this gap in education's missing, and we can tie in the fun bit, as I say, with the learning bit, and hopefully off they go to do a degree in esports or go on and become a business person within that world. And that's great. That's what it should be about.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you there. One of the things that was interesting me about this is that, as someone who's actually organised and held tournaments on a local scale, it would have been nice to have something like this to give me some of the skills that I needed to know before going into it, rather than having to learn it all on the fly and then sort of try and make an event that was half decent based on that. So... it was a huge struggle trying to put events together with no prior knowledge and nobody in the industry really willing to actually say to you, oh, this is how you put a good event on, so it's all very learned experiences from my end. But to have something that's available to you, that you're actually getting some people in the industry coming down to the colleges and actually being as part of the curriculum, I think is only going to be beneficial to the future of esports as a legitimate, sporting platform, basically, much in the same sense that traditional sports.
Well, and I think that's part of it as well. And of course, unfortunately, everyone's suffering in some form or another due to COVID-19. But all it's done is increase the popularity, but also the awareness of esports that's happening globally. I mean, we had a flipping virtual Grand National yesterday. I mean,
I know.
Tie that in as well. Nuts. Yeah, I still lost. But,
I knew nothing about that until I saw it on TV yesterday. I was like, well, they're doing a virtual national?
It looks very impressive. I was intrigued as to how it would look, but you still got some absolute idiots on Twitter who are complaining that the crowd weren't 2 meters apart.
Oh my gosh.
I've lost the will to live here. I'm not sure if I can cope with this, but things like that are being brought to general public's awareness, and that's a good thing. And if esports isn't for you, then don't do it.
Right.
Don't let it stress you out. Go and do something else. That's okay.
Absolutely.
But for those that are interested, and there are a huge amount, then this might be something you're interested in come September. And I have a Twitter and Instagram account purely for the esports business that we're looking at now, and I'll tell you what that is towards the end of the podcast. But I have to say, the people I've asked for help for on social media, particularly within the esports world, whether that's from a business perspective or education perspective, everyone has been incredibly generous with their time. And I think that's because everyone's really excited by this, and it is quite a nice kind of collaboration that's taking part globally. And yes, you've got the rivalries with Fnatic or Excel or whatever's going on, and that's quite fun to watch. But even far lower down than that, you've just got everyone who wants to pitch in and help drive their own little kind of principality of this wonderful thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is all, some of this is quite a selfish aspect in that respect. Everybody wants to see this on the curriculum because we are all gamers. We all want to see gaming grow.
Oh, yes.
Even more so than it has done in the last, 10, 15 years. And like you said, nobody really understands that the gaming industry is more profitable than the music industry and the film industry at the moment. So if you could find a base way into this community by offering people a course to do esports, then fantastic. It's a niche market, and I think that you'll definitely conquer that and do massive success on that one, because I think the biggest stumbling point, and I think you have already mentioned it, is probably the parents. Is that right?
Absolutely. And as I say, I mean, every open evening I've had at my fourth college now, I think, parents have always gone, what is media studies? What's the point? All right, strap yourself in. Here you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure my parents were the same when I was applying for college and I wanted to do media studies. They were like, "What is the point of media studies? What is it going to achieve?"
to be honest, I mean, again, if media studies is for you, same as eSports, don't do it. Don't worry about it. But I would argue now, in the era of fake news and generally the world going mad, then media studies and sociology is arguably more important than anything else. But anyway,
that's two subjects I actually did. So
see, I'm not all wrong.
No, definitely not.
I mean, if you can say to your parents, you want to know what the Super Bowl is, don't you? And 99% of people will go, yeah, okay. Well, there's this thing called League of Legends. It's a game. More people watch that live than the live Super Bowl.
That's true.
And you kind of got some context there, haven't you? And you can kind of go from there. And they'll go, okay, well, that's fine. That's all gaming. I don't want my son or daughter to game. They do that at 3 o'clock in the morning anyway. And you go, no, that's fine. So why don't we introduce a course where they understand how to frame it around something that's sensible, and they have a routine, and we deal with their mental health, and we deal with how they become entrepreneurs if they want to, or they just want to know how to manage a tournament or an event. Let's look at that. Branding, as I said, or the legal and ethical side of this, because everyone wants a piece of this action at the moment. This is important, and I think again, when I did actually have talks lined up at various places in the next few months, and the Festival of Education was going to be one, and Digital Institute was going to be another, and Warwick, what have you, and they were all interested in how esports and education align themselves, hence why I was going to go and chat about it. Of course, it is slowly becoming out there, and yourselves are helping me and various others kind of push this message through, that it's not a whim, it's not going to go away anywhere soon.
Yeah, that's right.
There's going to be kids
it's going to grow,
graduating for jobs that don't even exist soon, or don't exist at the moment. So we've got to get their digital skills up, we've got to get their awareness up, but we've got to make sure they leave us knowing what it is they want to do and how to do it well. Let's do it from an educational perspective.
Absolutely. I should probably explain for the very few Americans in our audience that the schooling structure is a bit different over here. What we call high school is what you guys call college.
Or sixth form, basically.
Or sixth form, yes, exactly. So, now, guys, you have to correct me because I don't understand this.
Okay.
And our high schools, our traditional high schools, you have a set, course load of about 6 subjects, and then you have 2 that are more like your fun ones, like your art courses, or your, you can be in band or sports. And it stays that way until you graduate with a high school diploma. Over here, you guys, at about the last 2 years of school, I think, your students get to choose stuff they're interested in called GCSEs?
Yeah, options. Yeah, take their options for GCSEs. That's right.
I'm learning.
I was
more knowledgeable than our parents I've met.
I was actually going to say I'll let the teacher take this one.
Yeah, I'm so
probably more
confused.
knowledgeable of the structure.
But no, you nailed it, to be honest. Yeah, bang on.
And then, and so you get to kind of, you guys don't graduate with one generalized diploma. You graduate with things, more specialized subjects. Correct?
It can, from my experience, it could potentially be 2. So you have your GCSEs, which, the last of high school in America would be our 2 years of BTEC college or
that's right.
levels or something like that. So you can come away with AS and A2 qualifications as well, which is basically your A levels.
Yes, which I forget what they're called. Let me think. In the U.S., it would be what we call junior college, an associate's. Yeah. That's what it's called. It's the equivalent of an associate's, which means you can actually get hired based on that.
That's exactly it.
And so, for you guys out there that are from the U.S., like myself, it's a bit different. Personally, I prefer it this way because you can specialize or especially tailor your education as opposed to just a general overview. So, and
also, you're not forced to stay into school until you're 18.
Right, that's another thing. Yeah, you guys can stop school at 16. I think you can.
I think that might have changed. So, James, is that any different?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not quite that.
Oh, okay.
So it's a grey area depending on.
Yeah, It used to be the case.
And then we've got the world of apprenticeships, which I won't ever go into either because that's quite dull. But,
That's so confusing.
yeah, I mean, ultimately, the last 2 years of school is called year 10 and 11. So that's when you're doing your GCSEs and you've made your options. And then you'll come into the sixth form level, which is where I teach. And that's for 16 to 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they can either do 3 A levels. So they have 3 subjects of choice, or they can do traditionally, if it's not 3, they do 1 vocational subject.
Yeah.
And that is the equivalent to 3 A levels. And then they would go on from us and either go into a degree or straight into employment or an apprenticeship or a combination of any of those things, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually very much admire that structure because with a generalized high school diploma, you weren't qualified to work anywhere. You're qualified to work what we would call unskilled labor. Sometimes
So i.e.
semi-skilled.
GameStop.
Yeah, exactly, and that's all it qualifies you for. Whereas I've seen and talked to people here, and they leave school, with like a computer science certificate or something, and it's like, wow, that's amazing.
It certainly keeps us busy.
Yeah, I bet.
Regardless of whatever subjects they do.
That actually brings up another question I wanted to ask, just because I'm curious. So we're currently, and I'm pretty sure the U.S. is experiencing this as well, but we're currently in a kind of lockdown mode, and a lot of the schooling has been canceled as far as meeting in public. So there's a lot of homeschooling going on. So have you had to do a lot of virtual classrooms type teaching?
Yeah, in a word, yes. I've been far busier the last 2 weeks than an incredibly normal busy day. Because in some cases, because this all rapidly took off quite quickly, the lockdown, the talk of lockdown.
It did.
Yeah.
I was one of the few members of staff to be deployed within college to get every other teacher who wasn't ready to teach remotely how to teach remotely. So we had lots of lunchtime sessions and after college sessions for staff, which begrudgingly some went to, some didn't. And then in the 2 weeks that I've been off college, running my classes normally, albeit virtually, through all things Google Hangout and Google Classroom, if I'm allowed to mention them. When I haven't had those classes, I've been having a truckload of one-to-ones with staff going, how do you do this? How does that get? How do you submit this? And where's the student value? It's just like, okay. So you've had to be incredibly patient and kind with them all because it's a new world for everyone. And I'm currently, again, for those listening in elsewhere, not in the UK, I'm currently on a 2-week break for Easter.
Right.
And come tomorrow, an awful lot of teachers up and down the land and are just going to feel a bit odd because we've suddenly got nothing to do and we're going to have less marking to do and less planning to do because suddenly education's almost come to a halt in some areas, particularly your 17 to 18-year-olds, because suddenly we've all got to make a decision to use a variety of algorithms and data to make predicted grades, and there's going to be quite a motivation problem for staff and students, I think, in a couple of weeks because suddenly everyone's hard work over 18 months is suddenly
I read that,
it's a weird one.
I read that they canceled exams and such kind of nationally, I guess, trying to use the right words. And from what I understand, the exams that they canceled were important exams for the kids next year. Is that right?
Yeah, ultimately yes. I mean, the major impact will be on the students who are due to take either mocks and then eventually exams when we returned in 2 weeks, because they're not going to happen now.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks ago, students were studying for something.
Oh gosh.
And now it's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. The first years, I think, possibly in all of this, are the ones that were almost forgotten about or neglected about. At our college, I used to say, because the immediate impact would have been on the second years, but suddenly it's the first years who are missing out on 2 months of knowledge from April.
Yeah.
Where they've still got to know it because they've still got an exam in 18 months. They've now potentially got less time to prepare for it. But again, who knows what the legacy of this will be.
Right.
But it's just a mad time. But a really good time if you like esports.
Yes, of
That's
course.
true.
Yep. I am available for remote learning or talking or chats or anything because I don't know what I'm going to do for the next few months.
Right. Yeah, that's actually really good to we should say that you are available for talks and such. Okay, I'll ask this question and then we'll probably wind it down to let you get on. Because we can talk quite a bit.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I will pretty much invite myself back on for another talk. Don't worry.
Definitely. Yeah. No.
Well, you're definitely more than welcome to come back for one of them.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. But so, because I'm still trying to wrap my mind around all of this, have you done? So, what's it like? How do I say this? Are there more difficulties in teaching virtually, or as opposed to physically present, or how is that? Is it just it's not all that different?
There is no. It's bizarre because you've suddenly got to have an online. What's the word? Etiquette, I suppose.
Yeah.
Where you've got to. Well, students don't have their webcams on for obvious reasons,
Okay,
and
right.
staff.
Okay.
Staff don't have their webcams on for obvious reasons. So the way that there's a variety of ways you can remote teach. But the live ones that we tend to do at the start of the week, where we get students to check in, ask any questions about what they do, or do they need help with anything, we get them to sort of online register themselves, so we know that A, they're present, and B, they know what they're doing. It's a little bit trickier because suddenly in an online chat forum, you can't be the kid who suddenly doesn't get it, because the only way that the only way as a teacher you'd know if they don't get it is if they write in a chat for everyone else. It goes, and that's awful. You can think about that.
Yeah,
so
that's going to make it awkward.
You can create other avenues to look after them, and you can tell by whether they submit work or whether they contact you sort of privately through email or through Google Chat stuff, as an example. But suddenly, as well, you're creating a 24/7 availability. Where I always say to staff, treat yourself after 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Don't reply to anyone. You need a break.
Yes.
And as a head of faculty, I easily get 80, 90 emails a day.
Oh yes. Oh,
easy. And that's from parents or staff and students and whatever. And that's unfortunately still been maintained. Although it's slightly less from staff, it's now slightly more from parents or students going, "I'm sorry. I don't know, Dave wasn't in class today. Our Wi-Fi was on the blink," or our parents aren't well because they're suddenly self-isolating, and you think, right, you might want to get the good sound ready, but suddenly it's a shit. You've got to have absolute sympathy for whatever they're going through, because have they got a Wi-Fi system that allows them to download and access all of this stuff? Is it unlimited or is it capped? And if you haven't got Wi-Fi because it's broken because the entire world's on it, have you got enough 4G data to stay in touch? And are your parents key workers, or are you at home, or have you suddenly got to look after your little brothers and sisters? And also, for a lot of students, college is a safe, nice place to go to for a security blanket, and it's a routine, and that doesn't exist anymore. But as teachers, we still go above and beyond, like all good teachers should. But it's quite a weird thing, to be honest.
No, I can imagine how difficult it really is at the moment with all the remote working, learning, and that. Like, how is it that you're having to, get the curriculum out to these kids now? Is it done via like Google Hangouts or?
As a college, we've moved towards Google Classroom and the Google kind of bits and bobs, which I'm sure hundreds of other educational institutes have discovered probably years ago and use effectively. Gone. No. Yes.
No, we're still here.
No, sorry. A bit blank.
Had a weird drop there.
Cut out.
Yeah, we're back. So all we've got to do as teachers, we've just got to, where possible, try and do some pre-record stuff.
Yep.
And there's lots of other clever things out there that we'll be able to use to kind of set your class do a 10-minute pre-record or a 5-minute pre-record on a Sunday night, say, and then you virtually online for them to access on a traditional lesson time at say 8:50 on a Monday.
Yeah.
And it will be the teacher saying, "Hello." They're sharing their screen. This is where you find this assignment. This is where you find your research. I will check in with you Wednesday. Any questions, get hold of me. Away you go.
Oh, okay. So
And
it's
then
not like you're standing in front of a webcam for the next hour and a half, or
some do, some can. It's whatever you feel comfortable with as a teacher, and also where you are sort of within the syllabus, whether you're revising or setting or creating or starting off or what have you.
Yeah.
And for everyone up and down the country, there's everyone's more confident with technology than others. So it's whatever you can do and is realistic.
Well, that's the thing that's interesting to me about this whole thing. Now, with this being pretty much a standard for everyone for the next few months, potentially, how big of an impact is this going to make on the future of schooling?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a saying that I didn't coin myself, but it's technology won't replace teachers, but teachers who use technology will.
Oh, wow.
And I think
nice.
Yeah. That's
we've stuck to that for the last few years, and I have a bit of a fight with my colleague who are slowly approaching some areas of ILT and teaching and learning than others, and that's fine because we're at a very good college and very good results. But I would quite happily, if it were down to me, and there's loads of reasons why it isn't, would push us further and faster for these type of things. I think it sort of beggars belief that it's 2020 and kids can't do an online assessment for an exam still.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I think they're talking about that for 2021, but you've got more. I mean, I've just had to remortgage my house because my mortgage was up, so I sort of changed banks and mortgage and all of that, and it was all done through X amount of security online. You put your electronic signature on it, you sign that was closed. You have to go to two-factor verifications, and brilliant. If I can, I will never ever have anything more expensive in my life than my house, and I managed to get that done in 10 minutes, and yet I can't get students to sit an hour's exam on Macbeth for fear of this, that, and everything else. You think that's not right? And I think there's way more technology than needed out there to make this happen. I just think that with most things, it's not always the right people in charge who make the decisions further up the line in government and
that's
education,
true.
whatever. But
That's
this
across
is
the board. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the same. It will always be that.
Well, you only have to look at the EU Parliament trying to pass through Article 13 like a couple of years ago when they just didn't understand what the whole deal with the internet really is and all that sort of thing.
We had a similar.
I don't have a problem with people. Sorry.
I was just saying we had a similar experience in the US with the SOPA, as they called it.
Oh yes, SOPA.
Yeah, there's people of a certain age that don't quite understand how the internet works.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with going, I don't get it. I would have a problem, and again, I'm not saying that's the case, but I would have a problem with them going, I don't get it, but I don't want to learn.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the impression I got from the EU Parliament when I heard a few people who had actually given talks there talking about it, said that they literally had no idea how it worked, but weren't willing to learn how it worked.
Oh, yeah. See,
I think exactly, and I think we're now having to be forced to do so, and a lot of these people who didn't understand it are now going to understand what it really is all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so, and I think you've got more students than ever before who are so incredibly tech savvy that they get it. And the amount of stuff they do online, whether they know it or not, they're sort of building online empires, and they've got multiple screens open on multiple devices, and they can multitask. I just don't think they see it as that. And they've got a currency that we don't understand, but that makes us wrong as opposed to them. And I think there are things we all need to do understand better. But hey ho, what do I know?
I absolutely agree.
Probably.
Well, by mere technicality, we're all boomers compared to them.
Oh god.
I know, right? I know. I'm waiting to be put back in my place in a couple of weeks. We can try it.
I will say, my sister teaches. We would call them kindergartners. Is that fair to say here? 5-year-olds?
I just about got the frame of reference, I think, from a really bad film with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
that's where I went with it.
Yeah.
But then I'm old, so you know.
So that age group, and so they're doing, they're all hopping on together for a check-in with like the parents and the little kids, and she said that several times during her check-in with everyone, because they all are on at the same time, one or two of them will grab the laptop from their parents and say, "Let me show you my house." So
yeah, I mean, I've got a 6-year-old, and I'm keeping him away. If he's done his homework and state of affairs, then we will go and smash out a game of Lego City Police or whatever.
Nice.
That's apparently a great game.
It is.
Oh no, it's absolutely wicked. But we are not, Counter-Striking or League of Legends yet. And for as long as I can keep him off that and a mobile phone, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
But when he's ready, it will be done in the right proper ways, because it's his upbringing, it's his culture. He's got to know it, and he's got to know how to do it all properly. So.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Great.
That's excellent. Do you do you get the kids in your class? Do they call you coach yet?
Oh, do the kids what? Sorry.
Call you coach yet?
If I'm one of the aforementioned companies I hope to work with, who are going to, I won't mention it, but it's one of the 4, just in case they can't. But they are going to hopefully design us some incredibly sexy jerseys for competitions. And I have specifically said that I am a medium, albeit just, and I need coach on the back. Otherwise, I'm going to kick off. That's my only rider. That's my only stipulation.
So good. That's so good.
My only demand is that you know me as coach going forward.
Exactly. Do not look me in the eyes ever. Other than that, we're good to go. To be honest.
So good. That's excellent. Do you have anything more you wanted to add, Pete, before we do our wrap?
The only other question is you said you had a 6-year-old and they're playing games at the moment. Are you going to be enrolling them onto this course when they're out of age?
The trouble is, though, I made this fatal mistake, I don't know, a couple of months back when I thought about this. I thought, there is a chance that I might be deemed a cool dad. I'm helping bring this thing together. And then I thought, no, he's never going to think that, is he? So, as and when he wants to make those decisions, whatever, because by the time he swings into GCSE land, there will probably be a GCSE in eSports, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yes, 10 years time, so that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Well, I can lie and say I was a part of that as well, but I don't think I will be. But if he wants it, it's all his. Of course, it is. I will be proud. His mum, less so. But deal that one further down the line. Whatever Noah wants, if it's suitable, it's all his. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I actually don't have any more questions. Kylie, did you have any more?
I'm out. I mean, I could sit here and talk about education and video games for the next 3 hours, but I think we'll spare the listener.
Yeah.
But we are very thankful to our guest, James, the eSports teacher, or coach.
Yeah, we're not going to introduce you next time. It's just coach.
Yeah,
coach. That's fine. That's fine. We'll put a webcam on so you can specifically not look at me in the eyes. That's all right.
Excellent, absolutely. But we're always thankful for our listeners stopping by and giving us a listen, as they do every week. We really have some of the best listeners out there. I might be biased, but hey.
Yeah, you're definitely biased.
So having said that, we have many different ways where you people out there in listener land can contact us. But first, I think we should probably let James give his info out. Where can they find you across the internets?
Well, first of all, thank you again for letting me kind of prattle on for a bit. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time. Secondly, you're welcome to find me on dear old LinkedIn, where I'm slightly more professional and less sweary, with a name that I will ask you both to put in your description, because I'm not even going to pretend to say it for people to find it. Thank you. And you can also find me on Twitter, which is the eSports Teacher, which is at Fraser Esports, and also on Instagram, which is _esports_teacher. And I will happily talk for as long or as little as anyone wants to talk to me about, whether that's esports and education or just the fun of esports. And I'm always happy to kind of contribute if I can.
Absolutely. That's excellent. I am actually very excited to see this become a success, because I do feel it's going to be quite a success, and it is exactly the direction that we're heading in nowadays.
I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely agree with that one.
But if you want to catch our reviews for the week, you can find us at www.rapidreviewsuk.com. We also have our Twitter page, which is, well, the Rapid Reviews Twitter, which is at Rapid Reviews UK. There's also our podcast Twitter. God, I'm so bad at this part. At RR Radio Pod. And our newest one, which is twitch.tv/rrradiopod, which you should maybe, fingers crossed, catch Pete at the end of this week streaming Final Fantasy.
Yes, my copy came early. I wanted to stream, like I said, on Friday that's just been. But the PS4 doesn't allow you to, because I don't think they've flicked the switch on that one, because the game's not officially out yet.
Yeah. And then if for some reason you're still using Facebook, you can find us over there. Rapid Reviews UK. And then Pete, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at PeteBeckett1, where I just tweet a load of nonsense about games and all that sort of thing. You know?
Yeah.
And Kylie, what about you? Where do they find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Kiley Tegreet, KILEYTEHGREET, where I am currently tweeting about the ups and downs of being diagnosed as autistic and dealing with it.
Yeah.
So I think that wraps it up for everything. Except one.
No, two things.
Oh, two things. Okay.
Yeah, two things. I had one more question for James.
Sure.
How do I enroll?
Well, you specifically can help me out with any PS4 games. Pretty cheap. I will accept any codes going. I'm getting slightly mad without them. And I'd need a very good reference from your old school teacher, college teacher, Jude.
Okay, all right. I'll get in touch and see if she can give me a glowing recommendation. Probably not going to happen.
Best of luck on that one.
Okay. So last thing is obviously the last thing that we do on every episode is a game fact. So I wanted you to both know about a game that I'm not particularly fond about, but is very iconic to everyone. So did you know that GoldenEye on the N64 only had 9 developers working on the game, with 8 of them having no experience in game development?
Wow. Oh my god.
Wow.
Now wait.
That's mad.
Before we end this,
Yep.
you knew I was going to say this. You aren't interested in GoldenEye?
As an FPS at the time, it was great.
Yes.
Carly and I need to do the next few shows without you.
Look, it's one analog stick. It doesn't control well like the other first-person shooters do nowadays. That's all it is.
It's one of the first eSports, people would say. GoldenEye tournaments. I spent a lot of my teen years.
Very true, and I've just got a message through from James that says I'm dead to him now. So that's ruined my chances of getting enrolled.
Yeah, we're behind the curtain now. Best news I've ever had was a few friends, 100 tubs of Pringles on the N64. Probably would be about 15.
I mean, I loved GoldenEye back in the day,
and
but I have I have actually gone back and played it since, and it is not easy to go back and play. That's all I was trying to get across.
Yeah.
The nostalgia is a killer, though, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah,
That's-
that's the issue. It's like Mario Kart 64 and Mario 64. It's quite hard to go back and play because but it's nostalgic.
Yeah. I have to agree. Okay, well, thanks everyone for stopping by again. We do love it when you do, and we will be back next week because that's the thing that we do. And so we will see everyone next week. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.